Brock Purdy has donned comparisons to the greats, including even Joe Cool himself. However, his journey to San Francisco was one with many trails, and Brock Purdy started this journey in Queen Creek, Arizona on December 27, 1999. Queen Creek is a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. Brock Purdy was born into a household full of athletes. He was the son of Sean Purdy and Carrie Purdy. Brock Purdy's dad was a professional athlete playing minor league baseball at the following organizations: the Pirates, the Royals, the Athletics, the Angels, the Giants. And Brock credits his dad with his work ethic, his coachability, and being ready to be a professional athlete in general. The relationship is what fostered the start of his relationship with Kyle Shanahan 23 years later. Kyle's obsessed with football and wants to improve, regardless, and he's often blunt. Brock may be one of his only quarterbacks to want to improve as much as Kyle does. But to return to his family, Brock's brother, Chuba, is playing quarterback for Nebraska and is probably a little bit more of a door threat than Purdy. Brock Purdy's sister was super athletic even too. She played softball at Southern Eastern. With big athletic shoes to fill, Purdy began his work at Perry High School in Gilbert, Arizona, where he played baseball and football. While playing baseball, Purdy learned how to naturally throw a sidearm, which would be helpful later in his career making throwing lanes. Let's say if someone was in his face, he would be able to tilt his arm and throw it around him, and you've seen that in the NFL. Purdy in 2016 started for his varsity team as a sophomore in the 6th toughest region in the nation for high school football. In 2016 and 2017, Purdy was able to lead his high school team to 2 state champions. However, he wasn't able to win either. However, Purdy had an astonishing career regardless of these 2 losses. He was a 3-star recruit and even was recruited by the likes of Alabama. But Purdy ultimately chose to attend Iowa State University. At Iowa, Purdy delivered some juice to a team that really needed it. Before Purdy got there, they were bad. After Purdy left, they were bad. Purdy was a 4-year starter at Iowa State, where he entered action because one starter was injured and another starter was ineffective. Purdy, however, was anything but ineffective as he accumulated 32 school records over his 4 years there. But despite all these accolades, Purdy was looked at by scouts as not an NFL starter, maybe not even a player in the NFL at all, because he was seen as unathletic, and they also said he didn't have enough arm strength. But Purdy knew that this would be a concern and added 5 miles per hour with the coach in the offseason before the draft. At the combine, Brock Purdy ran a 4.84 second 40-yard dash, but ran a quick 10-yard split of 1.55 seconds. The 10-yard split is a good measure of short area quickness. In comparison, McCaffrey and Purdy have the same 10-yard split, and this shows itself on those scramble drills Purdy has shown off in the NFL. Luckily for the San Francisco 49ers, they were able to steal Purdy from the rest of the league with the last pick in the NFL draft. Mr. Irrelevant was actually pretty irrelevant to start his career. He was the 4th string quarterback looking into a packed room, and he initially beat out Nate Sudfeld. And that was great for him because Nate Sudfeld was actually given a lot of money in the offseason, and he thought they would be the backup, but Purdy did better than him. And in the second game, we all know what happened. Trey Lance got hurt by running in between the tackles on a designed quarterback run. And I know a lot of people have their opinions about that. I'll leave that up for you. And this injury thrusted Jimmy Garoppolo in the starting lineup, and he was honestly playing pretty great. So we have to give props to Brian Griese, the quarterback coach for the San Francisco 49ers. But during the Miami game, Jimmy Garoppolo got injured, as he normally does. It's just something that's become a common occurrence in his career, and I feel sorry for Jimmy Garoppolo because of all the injuries he has to go through. But in this Miami game, Mr. Irrelevant became Mr. Relevant, and he's been cooking really ever since. Since being thrust into the starting lineup, Brock Purdy seems like he wants to make the rest of the 31 teams that passed on him pay, because he's playing with a vengeance and he's setting a lot of records. I know that he's one of the only rookies to throw at least 2 touchdown passes in his first 7 starts. And Brock Purdy also set another record against the Seattle Seahawks. He threw for 3 touchdown passes and 1 rushing touchdown, and that was the first time that ever happened with a rookie. Another fun stat is he had actually better stats than Joe Montana for his playoff game. The only difference is that Brock Purdy is a first-year starter, and Joe Montana, as we know, was in his third year. The San Francisco 49ers must absolutely be loving Brock Purdy because they have him on a 4-year contract on a rookie scale, and he's making, I think, less than $1 million a year, so it's just such a great deal. And it's undoubtable they found their franchise quarterback with Brock Purdy. I know it sucks for Trey Lance, but it's clear at this point that Brock Purdy is the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He's extremely mobile, which is what you wanted in Trey Lance. He has that quick escapability from the pocket, which is what Kyle Shanahan wanted out of Lance. He said multiple times he doesn't want a quarterback that just runs. He wants a quarterback that can run. And doesn't that sound like Purdy? In the Seahawks game, he got that nice little first down run, and he also did those great escapes. And even when he almost hit Ayuk in the corner of the end zone and Ayuk just dropped it, these are all things that point to one thing and one thing only, that the San Francisco 49ers have found their franchise quarterback. And it's been a journey. They haven't found it in such a long time. I don't think they found in Colin Kaepernick because his career was short-lived with the 49ers. And obviously not with Alex Smith either because they replaced him with Colin. I really think you have to go all the way back to even Jeff Garcia, maybe even before that, Steve Young, Joe Montana, since you can get to a 49ers quarterback that plays like this. Brock Purdy is on a different level, and he's so cold and collected. And this is something I want to just touch on briefly, is that this is something that's so undervalued. Ultimately, Purdy in his time with the Niners has shown the league doesn't know how to do quarterback evaluations. Purdy has something most quarterbacks like Trey Lance struggle to get and may never get in their career playing football. And that simple thing isn't skill, it isn't physical prowess, which the league always looks for in these quarterbacks. It's playing time. Because of Purdy's ability to lean into the experience, he has continued to establish himself as the franchise quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. So now that you have a background on Brock Purdy, what do you think about Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers? Do you think this is the San Francisco 49ers franchise quarterback, and do you think he's as great as the quarterbacks that I was mentioning, like Steve Young or Joe Montana? I've seen that comparison so many times, and I think that Brock Purdy is starting to establish himself as a solid starter for the San Francisco 49ers and everything that really they wanted out of Trey. And if you made it this far in the video, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button and like my video, share my video, all that stuff. It really helps out. And finally, I want to hear your thoughts on Brock Purdy. Do you think that he's a quarterback that can lead the San Francisco 49ers to multiple Lombardi trophies or even just one?